Still so many hard questions, still so few hard answers, still so hard to face. Space Agency officials said today no NASA employee on scene, no NASA monitoring equipment online showed anything out of the ordinary until the computer screens went blank and debris started raining from the sky. One new hard, cruel fact today, some crucial evidence the shuttle's 2 solid rocket boosters survived the fireball, but were blown up on purpose by Air Force officials worried that at least one booster was cartwheeling toward a populated area. As the scientists sifted for clues, America sifted its feelings and mourned. 6 astronauts, 1 teacher, 7 heroes. Our coverage begins with Bruce Hall and the search for facts.
Coast Guard boats are combing the Atlantic, searching for clues. The first boat returned this afternoon with almost 600 pounds of wreckage, but no vital parts.
Every piece we pick out of the water hurts a little. It's not an easy task.
And it is not an easy task for the choppers, searching for floating debris, because many of the important pieces have already sunk to the bottom. Some smaller debris has washed ashore. Officials are patrolling the beaches, trying to keep souvenir hunters from walking off with any important part of the puzzle. 2 significant pieces that will not be found are the solid rocket boosters. NASA officials revealed today that the crucial boosters were intentionally destroyed yesterday, 20 seconds after the explosion, when they began spiraling uncontrollably toward beachfront communities.
There was indications that the trajectory of one of the solids was heading towards a populated area, and they took action to destroy it, and that was appropriate.
A scientist who believes excessive vibrations from the boosters may have been a factor in the accident says their destruction is a crucial blow to the investigation.
The solid rockets are one of the keys to understanding what happened, in my opinion. And now a very important piece of information is effectively lost because they had to be destroyed.
With so little evidence remaining, NASA is faced with a frightening array of questions. Why? Why, with ice on the launch pad, did controllers risk a launch? Why did NASA's sophisticated computer system give no warning of danger? And most important, why did those mysterious vapors or flames appear just prior to the inferno?
The engineers will have to answer the question, why were those vapors, the flames, there? They shouldn't have been there. They were, and they'll have to answer why.
NASA officials are coping with the frustration of not knowing why.
There was nothing anybody could have done for this one. It just stopped. I don't know how that reflects on our computers or anything else on board.
This evening, searchers brought in the largest piece of wreckage so far, but they are still faced with the possibility there may never be a complete answer as to the cause of the explosion. Bruce Hall, CBS News at the Kennedy Space Center.
The world started all over again today. The ball of fire near the Kennedy Space Center was a peaceful one this time. The new dawn not letting on to what happened here just 1 day ago. On the shore, ordinary Americans, still stunned, stared out at the horizon. Some felt better trying to help in the search for debris.
Just log it and turn over to NASA.
That'd be good. And at the St. Teresa Catholic Church, just 8 miles from the launch pad, children prayed today for the families.
Heavenly Father, bring comfort to all who mourn the dead, especially to the parents, wives, husbands, and children of our astronauts. Give them courage and strength in their hour of need.
What went through my mind is, why did that happen? Why did God want to take them now?
It was a day for families to wrestle with questions just like that. The McNairs in South Carolina. Ronald McNair, one of yesterday's victims, was 35.
But there is some comfort in knowing that he has touched millions of hearts, young and old, black and white, and he gave us hope that people of all races and economic origin can aspire in life as far as their dreams could take them.
It is a special club they all belong to. America's astronauts had what Tom Wolfe called the right stuff. If they weren't born heroes, America made heroes out of them. Alan Shepard in 1961, the first American in space.
I feel sorry for the folks that really have to search their souls to see if they, in fact, did everything right for this launch, all the way back down the line. to the guys that started the first nut and bolt together.
What kind of people, Tom Wolfe wondered, would sit atop a giant Roman candle like a Saturn rocket and wait for somebody to light the fuse?
Americans don't like to be losers. They don't want to be second place. And we're way in first place with the space shuttle. We still are.
When something like this occurs, be it either in the space program or in civilian aviation or military aircraft, we take a hard look at what caused the accident, we fix it, and then we press on. And
there is no turning back, of course. Science doesn't work that way. Sooner or later, another shuttle will take off from that launch pad. But we won't take it for granted as we have in the past. The astronauts knew there was nothing commonplace about a space launch, and now we all know. Bernard Goldberg, CBS News, at the Kennedy Space Center.
President and Mrs. Reagan will fly to the Johnson Space Center near Houston Friday to attend midday memorial services for the 7 who died. One new note of mystery tonight. CBS News correspondent Peter Van Sant, on the scene at the search site, reports that Coast Guard crews have been told not to touch any green canisters or debris with a greenish cast they might come across. Instead, they've been told to mark the spot, and special teams will pick up this debris. Space Agency officials reportedly told the search crews this greenish debris contains hazardous materials. They did not say what kind of hazardous materials. For most of us, somewhere along the way, in grade school or high school or college, there was at least one teacher who made a difference in our life, perhaps transformed our life. This week, Krista Corrigan McAuliffe came to symbolize that teacher for all of us. She died yesterday in one dreadful instant in the sky. But today, she has become a figure past forgetting. And today, Charles Osgood reports, Krista McAuliffe's home remembered her in grief with love.
This place, not Cape Canaveral or the Houston Space Center, was the center of Krista McAuliffe's life. This house where she lived with her husband and children. This church where they worshiped. This school where she taught.
No school today at Concord High. All classes were canceled. In this room, Mrs. McAuliffe used to teach her social studies classes, and whether it was economics or history or law, she taught her special theme about how individual, ordinary people could make a difference in the world. And the students who sat in these chairs remember what she said.
She just kept telling us that you can do anything you want to do, you know, as long as you really try for it. You know, you're just going to have to go in face first, and you know, sometimes you're going to win, sometimes you're going to lose, but you just still have to give it a shot.
I don't think that people will remember the explosion as much as they'll remember her for what she was.
Back home in Concord now, with the parents who are their escorts, are the small children, third graders, who were at the Cape yesterday to watch classmate Scott McAuliffe's mommy go into space.
And they would watch, and they would cry, and they would turn to the adults. And thankfully, there were enough adults so that every child had a lap and every adult had somebody to cuddle.
I'm going to show you what the most important thing is that a parent does to help us. Look at me. Give me a hug. That feel good?
Yes.
That's right. Okay. That's exactly what God does for you and me.
There was a special church service today for 240 children from kindergarten through 8th grade.
And remember, no matter how sad we feel, don't be afraid to say that to people. If you feel it's important to cry, then cry. If it's important to hug someone, then hug someone. And that's probably the most that we can do for one another right now.
Dear Lord, I want to pray for Krista and all the crew. I want to pray for the families that are having a hard time right now. The astronauts are in heaven with God.
Charles Osgood, CBS News, Concord, New Hampshire.